Improved communication is the goal in high-level talks this weekend between U.S. and Chinese officials. Secretary of State Antony Blinken departed for Beijing overnight. He is the highest-ranking member of the Biden administration to travel to China, and he's the first Secretary of State to travel there since 2018. But Blinken's visit comes at a time when relations between the U.S. and China are very strained. CBS News Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent and Face the Nation moderator Margaret Brennan has a preview.
The expectations are low, but the stakes are quite high as the U.S. launches an intense diplomatic push to keep competition from escalating into conflict.
Intense competition requires sustained diplomacy to ensure that competition does not veer into confrontation or conflict.
Secretary Blinken's mission is to avoid veering into direct conflict with China. He suddenly called off a trip in February after a Chinese spy balloon was spotted, then shot down in American airspace. Since then, China's military has pulled off what the U.S. has called unnecessarily aggressive tactics. Two close calls, one in the South China Sea with a fighter jet and another in the Taiwan Strait with a warship. President Biden has largely continued the direction of the Trump-era policies. Both accused China of economic coercion, alleged that Beijing did not share information about the first COVID outbreak, and denounced the Communist Party's human rights abuses, including genocide against Muslim minorities. The Biden administration says it is now focused on managing the risk of escalation.
I think you're going to see that begin to thaw very shortly.
Caught in the middle, 3 American prisoners held on what the U.S. believes are trumped-up charges. 48-year-old Texan Mark Sweden was sentenced to death. 67-year-old pastor David Lin arrested in 2006. And 59-year-old Kai Li, taken at the Shanghai airport in 2016 after flying in for his mother's memorial service.
My dad is an innocent American who's being wrongfully detained, and our government has failed for almost 7 years now across 3 administrations to bring him home.
Harrison Lee said his father is kept in a small, crowded cell and permitted to call home twice a month for just 7.5 minutes.
We just need you, President Biden, to use all tools, cut through the bureaucratic noise, do what you can to just bring my dad home.
Secretary Blinken said he will make an in-person appeal on behalf of all 3 prisoners, and Harrison told us he hopes that will help free his dad. To date, none of the talks with Chinese officials have made clear whether Beijing is open to a prisoner trade or what it will take to secure their release. For CBS Saturday Morning, Margaret Brennan, Washington.
And Margaret will be reporting from Beijing tomorrow morning on Face the Nation.